So my surname being Ogbonnaya, I'm in Peckham running the pub. I'm like, the moment I go left, something's gonna go wrong.
This is Clem, a black man who walked away from his 9 to 5, sold his flat and somehow ended up owning 2 pubs in London, bringing in millions every year. Who the hell does that? In an industry where less than 1% of pub owners are black, Clem's not just breaking barriers, he's building community. But it wasn't all champagne and success from the start. In 2015, he made the leap. After selling his flat, he invested over £200,000 into a rundown pub no one else wanted.
This building was lopsided. I had to literally rebuild this pub. To be honest, if it was a straight business decision, I would have tapped out ages ago.
But he didn't quit. He rebuilt from the ground up, and slowly the community showed up.
I would say about 3,000 people a week walk through Prince of Peckham.
Now, his pubs aren't just places to grab a drink, they're cultural hubs. He's building an empire with nights full of poetry, packed DJ sets, and a vibe you can't find anywhere else. So we're here in South London to see how Clem turned £200,000 gamble into a business that's changing the game. This is More Than Numbers. We're in South London, Peckham to be precise. I'm with Clem, bro. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Let's get straight into it. Can you give us a brief breakdown of what Prince of Peckham and Queen of the South is?
So for me, I'm Nigerian born, grew up in South London, went to school in Brockley, Peckham, college in Clapham. And when I was growing up, I never completely felt comfortable in spaces.
Yeah.
Even being Nigerian in a black community back then, I didn't, it wasn't cool to be Nigerian back then, do you know what I mean? So I never wanted anyone to feel alien like I felt when I was growing up. Yeah. So I wanted to create a space that was genuinely inclusive, genuinely open, home from home. Yeah. And I love partying, I love having a good time. Went to university, started getting into like doing a few events, and I thought to myself, do you know what? I wanted a space that I could enjoy, but unbeknownst to me, I've created a space that's actually more than just a turn-up joint, a genuine community hub. People can share ideas, people can mourn, people can celebrate. And yeah, Prince of Peckham has done exactly that, and by the grace of God, we've got another venue in Queen of the South.
You're really bringing people together. What year did you launch the business?
So I signed on a dotted line, February 2017. Actually, fun story about that.
2017?
Yeah, February 2017, fun story. So I went to South Africa in January 2017. And this was at a time when I was just like, okay, I'm fully transformed, I'm mobilized, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get the money together, etc., etc. Yeah. So I was in South Africa, and my solicitor sent the document to sign on a lease. Petrified. And I just come from Robben Island, and so I abseiled down Table Mountain. Abseiled, bro. So as I abseiled, I thought, if I can abseil, I can run a pub. So as I abseiled, online, digital, signed it, done. Opened the business May 2017, and yeah, the rest has been history.
And since you've launched, how much revenue has your business generated?
I mean, it's a multi-million-pound business. Yeah. But for me, it's not about what we make, it's about how much we reinvest back in the business. Yeah. We probably reinvested about £3-4 million in our business, whether it be staff, products, collaborations, purchasing another site, looking for more sites. So for us, money we make, we're always putting it back into, like when you walk into our space, the different touch points, furnishings, etc., etc. We're always trying to make sure we maximize the experience for our guests. Yeah. So yeah, definitely, like in excess of 4 or 5 million has been reinvested in our business over the last 8 years for sure. Yeah,
Clem, let's get more into a bit about you. Like, what were you doing prior to starting up Prince of Peckham?
I remember I got fired from Armani actually, and I was down to my last, I was going to interviews, I was down to my last tenner. My brother bought me this tracksuit. And then the next day I had money to go to, he gave me money to get a travel card to go to my interview. Pareto Lawyer was with. And I got this interview working for Xerox, selling photocopiers, right?
Okay.
In Uxbridge. So I'm going from South London to Uxbridge. Journey, bro. Still living at my home with mums and dad. Like, journey. I think I was on £13,000 a year, bro. Damn. As a university graduate, earning like petty commission selling photocopiers. But you know what? It was the best sales training I could ever have wished for. Yeah. And if I didn't have that sales training, I'd be hard-stretched to find if I'd still be the individual I am today. Like, it was incredible. During that time, everyone wanted to party. Everyone wanted to have so I had some connects in West End.
Okay.
So I remember taking them to China Whites, and the original China Whites. After that, I was the guy in the office, bro. Wow. And I thought to myself, you know, when everyone goes out, regardless of their differences or troubles, everyone's calm, everyone's good. So I wanted to do that every day. Yeah. I want to create a space that people can party and enjoy themselves every day. So I left Xerox and I met these 2 white guys from Manchester, and they had a photographic studio in Soho. And I don't remember like the days when like, you know, Facebook was out, everyone was taking digital images, and there was a lot of money in the UK back then. So we had a makeover studio. So I did that, and I did that for 4 or 5 years. I was on a commission basis. I was hungry. I was selling using what I learned at Xerox to sell photos, to sell photographic experiences.
Yeah.
Then I started promoting the nightclubs. I was like, boom, I can pack out a nightclub with all the people that come through my studio, good-looking people, etc., etc. And everything just changed for me. Everything changed, and these guys that gave me this opportunity, they also showed me the power of debt, credit, leveraging. You know, I bought my first flat in 2006 because I worked with them and they connected me to certain people where, you know, you can pay an accountant X, Y, Z to, you know, make it like you earn more. You know, you can pay a surveyor to overvalue a property. I wouldn't advise doing it now, but we did it back then, you get it. And
do what you can.
It helped me get on the ladder, you understand? And through that, I was able to leverage the first property to buy the second property, so on and so forth.
Because I know you raised about 200K when you first started. How did you get people from your friends and family to actually believe in your idea and want to put that type of money down for you?
Do you know, I'm going to keep it 100, I asked a couple, and they said no. And you know, and I get it. Like, you know, it's all well and good. They're your friends and family, right? But why should they give you their money for you to say I'm going to do X, Y, Z? Like, but the one guy that stepped up, and my cousin G Fresh Gordon, didn't even hesitate, because I've been doing this for ages. And he was like, well, how can I not invest in your passion and what you're an expert at? And it was a no-brainer. I sold a flat. I did money from him. I got another couple of cousins, Jason and Charles and Yemichi. Everyone just like put money together, £217,000 to be exact. Bought the lease, renovated the first floor, knocked down some walls, and then 3 months later we opened Prince of Peckham.
So what's the process of getting those people to believe? Like, do you put a business plan in place for investors to have a look at, and then what's the process?
The business plan is key. I didn't really know what a business plan was. So I put together this business plan, and it was mad comprehensive. Like, the best body of work I've ever put together in my entire life. It was, you know, sensitivity analysis, SWOT analysis, Gantt charts, etc., project plans. Like, I'm doing all these things. I even surprised myself, you get it? To make this short, this is thorough. Like, you're going down to how many coffees are you selling an hour, in a day, in a week? You know, if you're projecting figures, how will you make out those figures? So I think people say, this business is gonna make £1 million, but what does that £1 million consist of? How many pints, how many beers? So I had this, you know, if you see this body of work and you're like, this guy knows what the he's doing, you get it? So
no, we're outside. Let's go inside, check it out.
Come after you, bro.
I love it. We are well into the first quarter of the new year, and this business is booming, and yours can too with this absolute game changer, Tide's Instant Savers account. Tide is a business finance platform designed to make managing your business finances easier, smarter, and faster. With their savings offer, you get up to 4.38% AER variable interest with instant access and no withdrawal fees. That's right, you can access your funds instantly and manage your savings flexibly and keep everything secure all through the Tide app. Personally, I've been looking for some simple tools to streamline my business finances, and Tide's Instant Savings account ticks all those boxes. Whether you're setting aside money for taxes, growth mode, or a rainy day, Tide keeps it all hassle-free and FSCS protected, so up to £85,000 of your deposits are secure. Oh, and here's the best part. Sign up now with the promo code NumbersGameQ1, and when you fund £5,000 into your savings account within the first 30 days, you get £100 credited into your account. Ts&Cs apply. Visit the link on screen for more information. So don't wait, start saving smarter with Tide. Click the link in the description below and sign up today. Clem, I've been here a few times myself, and it's a big space, but I don't think I've explored all the rooms in here. What rooms do you have in this space?
We have quite a few, to be fair. My idea of this pub, or any pub I have, is that the main bar, the pub itself, can always be the pub, the heart of the space. But that doesn't mean like someone doesn't want to celebrate a birthday, if there's a wake, if there's like film shoots and something. So what I try and do is I maximize trading space, basically. I try and maximize as much square footage as possible. So we have the main bar. We have the music room upstairs. There's a karaoke room. Then we have a semi-private room. We call it the terror room, but it's a terracotta room. Holds about 40, 50 people. Then we have the shrine downstairs, which is an homage to Fela Kuti. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different spaces there.
And that name, like, how did you come up with that name?
You remember Desmond's?
Yeah.
Desmond's was that one show that my family allowed us to stay up and watch, right? There wasn't really anything on TV that represented our situation. Like, it was a space that people weren't even cutting their hair, bro. People were just rocking up and just chatting, you know. And I wanted that space where, irrespective of whether you're here to buy a drink or co-work or whatever, you can pull up a pube on your ones in a group, just chat, chop and chill, bro. So, and there was one guy in there, Lee, the Peckham Prince Stanley, and he was played by Robbie G. And he was like, you know, cockney as you like, sharp dresser, but he'll put on you patois whenever, like, straight up. And I thought, aren't we all like that? Do you get it? Like, you know, and I thought, and he was the Peckham Prince, and I think there's not one black boy I grew up with that didn't call himself the Peckham Prince. And it's funny, because when I was trademarking the name, I thought, Rio Ferdinand's probably taking it, you know what I mean? And it was available, I said, yep, snap that right up. So, trademark Prince of Peckham, and the Prince of Peckham was born.
Earlier you mentioned you raised about, what was it, 217K to be precise. What did that go into in terms of starting this location?
Lawyer fees, structural engineering, designs, startup capital, because I think people forget that when you open up a space, you at least want enough money to keep you running for the first 3 months, just in case.
Right.
You know, so it was like maybe 30K put aside for that. And to be honest, like, so I invested another maybe 100 bags, 160, 50,000 pound in this pub, and I made it 3 floors. I made the bar smaller, made it more efficient, created more trading space. And it was from that move, so we probably went into lockdown making X. We came out of lockdown making X times X times X. For the first 6-12 months, it was very much ensuring that boxes were ticked, taxes were paid, staff were paid, lights were on, you know, and obviously, and cash flow. Cash flow is the biggest thing that will ruin anyone's business. But you plan against that. You plan against future incomings. You try and run a business like this, like, cool, what do you think your Saturdays are gonna make? What do you think your Tuesdays are gonna make? And you just try and have things against your cash flow. But yeah, I would say actually cash flow supersedes everything, because your business to make X, but do you have access to that money? You know, after the end of 2018, we were recording small profits, 12% operating profits at the time. Then up to 18% operating profits. So like, you know.
You kept going. It was really important. You kept going during that period as well. And sort of, did you have a launch day?
Yes. So 16th of May was the soft launch. We've never made more money on a normal Thursday in 8 years than we made on that opening Thursday.
Crazy.
And I remember there was a sofa sitting in that corner there. My dad was sitting there, and there was no light in there, so it was quite dark. And my dad was sitting there. And I'm running around, you know, you can see the picture of me. I've got like my Nigerian traditional, and I see my dad just sitting in the corner, and I don't know if he's drunk or he's falling asleep, I don't know, but he's sitting there, and I go, Daddy, you okay? And he said, Chukwumerija, my son, sit down. I sit down with him, he goes, and he kept on saying 1987, 1987. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, that's the year I decided to bring you lot to this country, and now look what we've done.
Prince of Peckham, in Peckham, like this area, this is not the only pub. I think there's at least a couple pubs within the nearest mile radius. Like, how do you set yourself apart?
Important is that people have good experiences. I know how important, when you got £1 to your name, is what value am I getting from that pound? Yeah, you want me to come to your dance, but what am I getting from that dance? You want me to buy your clothes, but what am I getting from that garment? So I really put that all together with Prince and any other pub, Queen of the South, etc., and that's kind of what I like to think sets us apart.
And I guess that translated into your business, and now Prince of Peckham isn't just the only one. You've got Queen of the South.
Yeah.
That's not too far from here either.
No, just down the road, lads, down the road.
Yeah, what do you say, you might as well go.
8-minute train journey or 18-minute drive.
No, let's head over to Queen of the South and see what that's saying.
Let's do that, all right?
Sweet. Actually, Clem, before we go Queen of the South, we have to mention your kitchen.
Yes.
White men can't jerk.
But my thing was more to do with the fact that I'm a black guy back to buy a pub, and he's a white man jerking chicken. And I just thought, like, it's Peckham or London is a melting pot of cultures, and I thought it's actually quite funny. But more so to the point that they're serious about their business, they're serious about their kitchen, serious about the food. And I think one thing, when we came to opening, it was only meant to be like a 6-month rotating situation. 8 years later, they're still here. You know, consistency, they've gone from doing in-house and then Deliveroo. They do great numbers, and the relationship with us and them is that there's no rent as such. We just take a percentage of the revenue that they sell in house. Kitchen partners and pubs are so important. Yeah. I didn't realize how important it was until I bought Queen of the South, and we just never got it right at Queen of the South. We've definitely got it right now, but it just shows that for us to have had a relationship with White Men Can't Jerk for almost 8 years. Yeah. And the numbers aren't doing this, the numbers are doing that. Not just in terms of revenue, but units sold. They're the first people to do jerk chicken and chips for starters in London. It was like #1 trending meal on Deliveroo. You know, number 16 worldwide.
Is the kitchen open?
The kitchen is open, yeah? You open?
Yes. Well, I guess get something before we go.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Clem, we're in Queen of the South.
Yeah, boy.
The second location.
Pub number 2.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you, bro. This is a real labour of love.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can really see you putting in work for this one.
Yeah, do you know, I think like it was kind of, Prince was representative of where I was in my life then. Yeah. And like this is more of a representation of how far we've come in it. Like, we want things to be refined. We want nicer things, you know what I mean? I've been inspired like by some of the Soho House venues, like some of the more central London locations. I'm thinking, like I said before, community doesn't mean free. Like we still want to be in the community and have nice leather Chesterfields. We want to see like nice lighting, Tiffany lamps, that kind of thing. So I really, I went in.
At what stage did you decide it was time to get a second location?
The stage in which I decided I should have a second pub, and I saw this space. You get ahead of yourself, isn't it? Like ego, you think, oh, you've done it once, you can do it before. And I started looking at this pub, because there was a lot of similarities with what was the Clayton Arms before Prince of Peckham. Yeah. So I investigated, I inquired, and then I thought, you know, fuck it, I'm gonna buy a second pub. And I spent about maybe £20,000 to acquire the premises license.
So did you invest with profits made from Prince of Peckham, or did you raise capital externally? I raised capital. Yeah. But I reinvested everything, every bit of profit we had at Prince of Peckham, probably like 90% of it. I thought, you know, fuck it, bro, because money has no value until you spend it, right? And I'd rather leverage that and pay interest than pay myself out and pay 40% on taxes, you know what I mean? So that's what we did. So come May 2022, I'm signing a dotted line. I've acquired what was the White Hart, soon to be Queen of the South. And you know you have structural surveys. But with structural surveys, you can't start opening walls of a building you don't own. You can do as much as you can. I think there's pictures online where you can see, we took the roof off. We took the roof off. Like you could stand at the bottom and look right through to the sky. We had to, this building was lopsided. Yeah. So we had to underpin the building. We had to put the building on stilts. Every beam you see in this pub wasn't here before. It's all brand new. But these are things that I didn't bank for. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's a learning curve. It's a very expensive learning curve. But you know, I had to literally rebuild this pub. Yeah. The only thing that's original is the carcass of it all, where we had 800k for this project. Okay. So that's how much you raised.
That's how much I raised. Yeah, 800k for this project. It ended up being fucking in excess of a 1.2, which, you know, at that stage, you just have to believe in what you're doing it for. Because to be honest, if it was a straight business decision, I would have tapped that ages ago, bro. Do you get it? Like,
could you talk me through some of the biggest differences from opening Prince of Peckham and this, and sort of like any problems or issues, hurdles you faced along the way?
Boy, where do I begin? Like, obviously we've gone well over budget. Right? In excess, like considerable amounts of money over budget. So we bought it May 2022, we planned to open November 2022. When we opened May 2023, we had no electricity coming to the pub. So straight Niger style, we had a generator outside, bro. Bro, imagine a generator. That's not, because obviously in Nigeria, it's in case the electricity comes off. This one is for the electricity. Do you get it? Like, and we had it for 5 months. And you know the cost of diesel. These are like 2,000 litre tanks. So we're paying for diesel to power the pub and keep it open. But in turn, you're pissing off neighbours. We're here saying we're a community pub, but we've got neighbours like that can't sleep because it's on overnight, or they're saying, you know, the fumes are going into the atmosphere, which was, and all we wanted to do was just get the pub open.
What is the revenue difference from your first year of operating to now?
Yeah, we're doing 3 to 4 times more than we, in 8 years later than we did when we opened, for sure. But like I said before, for us it's very much like, it's not about the top line, it's about the bottom line. and what can we use to reinvest in the business, create a more valuable product by it being more valuable experience.
What would you say is the biggest revenue driver in both businesses?
Okay, so for Prince of Peckham's, 80% of our weekly revenue will come from our late night trade. But every Friday and Saturday should pay for the business. Sunday to Thursday should be your profit. Playing football matches or Champions League finals at pubs. You know what? Having Sky and BT in pubs is essential, but it's expensive, bro. Yeah. We spend about $4,000 a month. But be honest with you, when we opened the pub, we didn't have Sky BT because it wasn't an expense I was prepared to. But the moment we showed the World Cup, I think it was 2018, obviously it's on TV, right? And what I love about sports at Prince of Peckham is like, you've got girls, you've got guys, you've got South Americans, like all these people, and you know, so we thought after that World Cup, 2018, it might have been the Euros, we thought we're going to invest in Sky and BT.
And how many staff members do you have across both locations?
Probably about just under 60 maybe, not including the contract staff. Yeah. It's challenging keeping everyone motivated, everyone interested, but the key is to have staff retention. This industry is renowned for high staff turnover. Yeah. I thought to myself, people won't treat hospitality as a career if they're being paid like it isn't. So we try to introduce higher hourly pays in terms of salaries, incentives for people that are salaried. But obviously, things are challenging. Like 25 to 30% of your weekly revenue can go on staff wages.
And across, if you know, the split of both, but what would you say the customer intake is for both locations?
Or how many people walk through the door? Yeah. I would say about 3,000 people a week walk through Prince of Peckham. Okay. Yeah, we could see between, for instance, I just remember this because it was Saturday just gone, but from 9 p.m. till 9 p.m. till 12:31, 600 people walked in and out of Prince of Peckham. But no, it's here we're seeing about 800 to 1,000 a week. Okay. Yeah, steady growth, absolutely. But the opening night here was ridiculous. Couldn't even move. Again, probably the largest night we've done here since we opened.
What other metrics are important to monitor in an industry like yours?
Because there's so many moving parts in this business, it's really important to keep a hold of your management accounts, your P&Ls, your balance sheet, that kind of thing. And it's something that because of the growth of the business, and we're also planning on, pub number 3 later in the year, we're really trying to get a hold of our cost centers, down to the cost of blue roll, down to the cost of toilet roll. So it's very important to get down to the real details of it. Utility bills for a company like this is insane. It's better you manage your cost centers than just focus on revenue. Because if you can keep your costs down and you know what you have to spend, then you find what you call your break even. And as long as you meet your break even, you can keep moving.
So Clem, traditional pubs don't usually have social media presence. You can't find them on Instagram, TikTok, etc. What would you say has been the best marketing strategy for Prince of Peckham and Queen of the South?
So for us, it was like a real community pub, but there was a story, my story. People relate to a story, people by people, right? And I think it was very important our social media depicted that in the narrative, in the language being used. But ultimately, for us, we want to collect data. Right? We want to collect data so we can communicate effectively to people. The right groups, the right offers and what have you. So for us, it was about storytelling, collecting data and making sure we're not just spamming people, we're not putting out information that doesn't matter. But I'm not a social media expert, far from. I'm like old school promoter. I'm like, come to my dance, come to my dance, come to my dance. And I've met people over the last 8 years that has really said, no, Clem, this is the way, this is the strategy. They've kind of, I think you don't hire talented people to tell them what to do. You hire talented people so they can tell you what to do. Yeah. The late Steve Jobs, and I think that's kind of like how our social media has really taken off or taken form.
But what's the key to sort of having people come into the pubs regularly and keep them coming week in, week out?
Yeah, it's really about consistency. I just think it's important that you know what you're getting at any given time, at any given day. Yeah. Like I talk about Saturday nights at culture. If you go to Prince Peckham on a Saturday night, you're guaranteed a turn up. You know that you're coming to eat white men can't jerk, and the food, the same jerk chicken you eat in 2025 tasted as good as it did in 2017. Consistency is important. but also customers like to see improvement. I think if you went to a space for 7 years and you sat on the same seat and saw the same thing, you'll be like, yo, but I'm spending money with you every week. And I think when you see improvement in that journey and it's maximizing your experience, but yet still consistent, I think that's what we've done very well with Prince of Peckham. And so that's what we try and do: consistent service, consistent hospitality.
What other marketing techniques would you say, maybe not at the forefront, but happening in the background, that is also as effective?
Email marketing is key, and it's about how compatible it is on your phone. Because obviously we're scrolling, boom, can I see what I need to, are the links working? But one of the key ones we do is birthday booking. So 3-4 weeks before your birthday, you'll receive an email from Prince of Peckham or Queen of the South saying, we know it's not quite your birthday, but etc. So we're trying to just plant that little seed in your head, and I think that's key. Some people might think it's spam. I think it's quite key.
Okay, so you've broken down the numbers for us. You've shared your marketing strategies, and there's always going to be. It seems like there's always going to be progression with your businesses. Let's head outside and talk more about the future. All right, Clem, you've been running this business since 2017, and it's been going from grass to heights to heights to heights. Let's talk about the future. How do you see yourself expanding Prince of Peckham and Queen of the South?
Well, as a pub group, obviously, the moment I bought Queen of the South, we created our pub group called the Village People. So in terms of the pub group, I want to acquire 5 sites. That's the plan in my head. 5 sites. We're looking at another one on the horizon in South London somewhere, by the grace of God, October, November. But I want to get to a space where the group is really an effective community pub group. And the ultimate goal for me would be, this is why I'm trying to develop my own personal brand. I want to be the pub expert. I want to find a pub in South London, and I want it to be the first 100% community-owned pub. I'm talking about like having a crowd fund, and every single person that contributes to that pub or the purchase or development of that pub will own a share in it. And in my head, I'm like, we'll list all their names every year, depending on profits and sales.
There's a lot of people who are going to be watching this who are entrepreneurs and might not necessarily know what they want to go into, but what piece of advice would you give to someone that wanted to get into an industry like this?
There's a lot of people in this industry that don't like people, which baffles me, because the whole point is to be hospitable, right? I love people. I don't necessarily like them all, but I love them, and I understand the importance or the impact my pubs have had on people. So if there's no passion for people, if there's no passion for food, for drink, for creating experiences, if you're in it just for the money game, nah, forget about it, man. And it's not to say there's not money in it, but it's the magic that makes the money. And if you're not making that magic and you're just focusing on money, you're going to start making short-term decisions and you'll come unstuck, for sure.
No, that's sick. Hey, Clem, we've had an amazing day today.
No, thank you, man.
Showing us Prince of Peckham, showing us Queen of the South, and both of them are looking amazing. And I can only imagine what's next to come is going to be even bigger and better.
It's going to be lit and lit.
No, proud of you, man. Appreciate it, bro.
No, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you very much, man.
Always, man. Pleasure. There you have it, guys. It's been more than numbers.
It's been more than numbers.